Hi guys, it's Marco again. This is tutorial number 4 for dMw Walking Gaming Community for Arma 3. We're going to look at creating tasks, which is the most important part of a mission obviously, and assigning that task and also the completion of that task. So to start with, I'm going to load the mission that we had in the first tutorials, which I call my mission. Load that. So we have the virtual ammo box, you as an officer, and we have these 4 playable units here. Now for demonstration purposes I'm going to remove these, just so we don't when we preview we don't have AI running around willy-nilly, which can be quite annoying. So, so the first thing we need to do is to create something that is going to be our task. And in this demonstration I'm just going to create a civilian. Don't matter what kind of civilian he is. But I'm going to call him Eric. Okay, and just plonk him there. Okay. And then the first thing I do in order to initiate the first task within a mission is create a trigger. Now this is so that when we spawn, this trigger is automatically triggered, so that the first task is created for us. So we touched on triggers in the last tutorial. I'm going to use the same kind of thing, so I'm going to leave those at 50 this time, but we want the activation to be blue for present and once. That's all we're going to use for now. I'm going to plug that there. Okay. So we know that when we preview this trigger is automatically going to activate because I'm already been there. Okay. So what we need to do now is we need to create a task, i.e. this trigger will create a task that will show up on our map screen. And in this case I'm going to make it also assign it as well. So we're going to go to the modules, which is these 3 boxes here, and we're just going to double click and then we get the module screen. Okay, within the category I'm going to choose Intel. We just ignore everything else at the moment, and we'll go to Intel, and it defaults to create task. Okay, so in here I'm going to call it the task ID, task 1. Try not to use spaces in here, it tends to mess things up in the long run, so, and just ignore everything up here at the moment. So call it task 1, and then the title I'm going to say, this is what the task will be, so I'm going to say kill Eric, and then so that is the main title, and then in the description it is shoot Eric dead. Bit morbid, but it's just the easiest way to show you. Okay, so anything else we just leave as it is and click OK. Okay, so then we've got a little module here. Now what we need to do now is link this task to the player. So we use this link function and drag from the officer to the task. Okay, so what will happen now is if we launch the game, it should create this task for us. Okay, so if we go to the map screen, and it's created this task for us. Okay, however it's not assigned, we still have to do it manually. I find the best way to structure your tasks is to set them with an assign module as well, because if you don't, people could just do the task willy-nilly, and there's a bug within Arma that doesn't you can't list your tasks in order on the task list screen, so I always find it best to do it that way. So to do that, we create another module. Oops, click on the module. And this time we go to set task state under Intel and set it to assigned. Okay. Okay, that. Now, the modules group themselves, there are uses for this, but it's not used very often, so what we need to ungroup it. So basically, click on the group button and just pull it away. Okay, so now they're ungrouped. However, we do need them to talk to each other, so basically, instead of using the group tool, we use the link tool. So link that task to set task state of assigned. And also what we want to do is we want that to fire when this trigger is fired. So we want that to say assigned when this trigger is fired. So what we do there, as we showed you in previous tutorials, when you want a trigger to fire, you use the link option and drag it to the place in which you want it to fire. Okay, so let's preview that. We should get that assigned. Okay, that's the assigned objective. We can see that on the map too. Okay. Okay, let's go back to here. Okay. Now, what we want to do now as well is create a trigger to say when Eric is dead, we want to fire another module off that says it's been succeeded. So, firstly, we create another module. Oh, it's bloody one-way lights. Okay, let's just go down here. Again, Intel set task state and succeeded. Okay. Again, it'll try and link them. It's rather annoying. Let's move that away from there. Okay. So let's just move that up there. Okay. So now we have a create task, a set task state which is assigned, which is what loads when we load the mission. Although you didn't see the message pop up in the preview, it does pop up when you play on multiplayer. So it will notify you. But what we need to do is link that set task state to the create task as well. Okay. But we do not want that to fire until it hits another trigger, which we will create now. So select your trigger and place it somewhere on here. Now we don't want it to be we don't need it to be in an ellipse or rectangle, so we're going to make it just a flag. So just call it nil and nil. Okay. Okay, so sorry, we should have still been in that screen. Okay. And then within the on activation, in the condition, we need to type exclamation mark live Eric, and then you'll see what this does in a minute. This is basically saying fire this trigger when Eric isn't alive. Okay, so we've set that trigger there. So now we need to link this trigger to that set task state, and then we need to link Eric to that trigger too. Okay, So let's preview that. Let's go find Eric. As we can see, we've got the kill Eric, shoot Eric dead assigned. And we get the task completed of kill Eric. Okay, right, so that's the basic way that the create task module works. Now, your screen can get quite messy when you do this, so I tend to keep my create task there, and then my two set task states here. Okay, so now we've created the first task and we've completed it. You want it to be able to create another task. Now, to keep it simple, I'm going to create another trigger here. I'm going to keep it, I'm going to do it the same as previous tutorial. I'm going to make it a if blue 4 are here, and that is going to be our completion. So I'm going to put 10 by 10 activation blue 4 if they're present. Okay. And we can call this a rendezvous point if you like. This is a typical way we would use this kind of succeeded task. Okay. So we need to now create another module for a task. So we're going to create one here. So set task state. We're not going to wait on that. We won't create task. Okay, so we're going to call it, for argument's sake, task 2. Title get to rendezvous. I don't know if I spelled that right, but whatever. Get to rendezvous point. And I'm going to copy and paste that into there. Okay, so that's a create task. Again, it annoyingly links. Okay, now we need to link this using the link tool again to our character straight away. This is so it shows up in the screen. But again, we need 2 more modules, an assigned and a succeeded. So if we again select the module tool and select set task state, assigned. Okay, we've got that in there. Gain a group, which is so annoying. And we will. Right, so I won't create the other module yet, just to keep things a bit more simpler. What we need to do now is, obviously we need to link the set task state assigned to the create task, but we don't want it to fire until this trigger is hit, i.e. the first task is completed. So we need to again drag the assigned to this trigger this time. The first one was assigned to this, so it assigns it to us as soon as we load the mission. Okay. So now we need to create another module. This one be our mission 2 or task 2 succeeded. So set task state succeeded. Again, ungroup them and link it directly to the create task. Okay. Now we want that one to fire when this trigger is triggered or fired. So link again, scroll up to there. Okay, so now we have task 1, which is kill Eric. Once Eric has been killed, we'll get a notification to say that it's been succeeded, and very shortly after that, we should get another notification to say get to rendezvous point. And then when we hit this trigger, that will be task 2 completed. Okay, so let's try that. find Eric. Just to make sure, we have the kill Eric assigned, and there's our second task look. And it's in order, which is unusual. So, let's have a look. Let's shoot Eric, bless him, in the head. Okay, we get the task completed. And we get the task assigned. So, we need to get to rendezvous point. So, as you can see, the next kill Eric is being ticked, so then we go to the next one. So, okay. It also shows on the map this little V. Before, Eric would have had a V as well. This is actually the point in which your create task module is situated within the mission. So, if we go one over now to here. And we've fired the other trigger, so we've got to the rendezvous point. So we've completed them both. So that is basically how you do tasks in a very basic way. As you can imagine, when you've got triggers and modules and all sorts flying about the map, it can get quite messy, so you've got to be very careful with what you select. But yeah, so that is the way to create and assign tasks. So I'll leave you with that, and catch you next time.